The Atlanta Braves take down the Philadelphia Phillies 7-5 to win the first game of the series on a night when Chris Sale didn't have his best. Let's talk about it.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. Jake Mastriani unfortunately can't be here tonight, but he'll have plenty to say over on Locked On Braves next time he's able to do his show. But I want to talk about this 7-5 victory, right? Because let's be honest, the Atlanta Braves were in a tough place entering today's game. You were 1-8. You had to go up against last year's Cty Young runner-up in Zack Wheeler. And your Cy Young winner in Chris Sale did not look his best in his last start. He also didn't look his best tonight. We'll get to that. But first, bask in it. Revel in it just a little bit. The Atlanta Braves took down the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's break down what happened in this game, what the turning point was, the player of the game, what you're going to be talking about, and all of that stuff. And I think the first thing here, the first accolade we're going to give out, we got to talk about the player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Sean Murphy made his return to the lineup today, and he made it with a bang. Batting eighth, coming up in the second inning, 3-run home run, right? Austin Riley had gotten on via a double. Jared Kelenic, he was on base 4 times tonight. We'll get to him. He walks, brings up Sean Murphy, home run to left, 3 runs come in. He adds another run in the 6th on a single again to left field. Ends up with a 2-for-4 night, 4 RBI. And there was a lot of conversation around Braves country. Jake talked about it. I talked about it over on Braves Today about the decision to keep Drake Baldwin up when Sean Murphy came back and to bring back Sean Murphy as soon as you did, right? Brian Snedker had initially told us he wanted Sean Murphy to catch back-to-back 9-inning games before they activated him. That didn't happen, right? He caught 7 innings in Gwinnett in his most recent start. He was slated to catch 9 innings on Sunday. Atlanta got rained out. Gwinnett got rained out. They went ahead and activated them and got rid of Chadwick Trump. Well, for at least a night, they looked like geniuses. Sean Murphy went up there and was just absolutely raking. It's a good sign. I guess when you homer in Gwinnett, it's a good sign you're going to homer in Atlanta. Side note on that, Alex Verdugo homered in Gwinnett tonight. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But overall, just a fantastic night for the offense. Kind of checking the scorebook here. 11 hits, 7 runs. I'm not going to say the offense is all of the way back, right? We've talked a lot about how runners in scoring position has been an issue for Atlanta. And your core 4 in the lineup, your Matt Olson, your Austin Riley, your Marcell Ozuna, your Ozzy Albies, were combined going into this game, batting .250 with runners in scoring position. And that sounds like it's fine. But outside of that Friday night Miami game, they had 4 hits in 30 at-bats with runners in scoring position. Well, tonight, at least for a night, it felt like almost everybody was able to come through. Marcell Ozuna only, he collects 1 hit, also has a walk, comes around to score. Ozzy Albies draws a walk in that pivotal 8th inning via some small ball Atlanta manufactured. But I do think the turning point of the game, the point where everything changed in this game for Atlanta, was actually earlier than that.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Austin Riley comes to bat in the 7th inning and RBI double to center field. And that was a big deal to me because Riley's been one of the most egregious guys about not hitting with runners in scoring position this season. He's been one of the guys who's had the biggest problem. And at one point, there was a tweet going around social media talking about how poorly Austin Riley has hit in general since signing his extension. But that moment where Austin Riley was able to get that double, Marcell Ozuna led off that inning with a walk. And after Matt Olson grounded out, which he did, I think, twice tonight, Riley came through. And that was the moment, it felt to me, where the Atlanta Braves, we've talked so much. Everybody's talked about how the mentality didn't seem to be there with this Braves team, right? That they didn't seem to have the will to get it done when they had to get it done. That, to me, seemed like the moment when the Atlanta Braves decided, no, we are, in fact, going to get this done. We are going to do this. We are going to win this game. We're not going to roll over. The season has not ended. So, want to kind of acknowledge, shout out Austin Riley for what he did. On the whole for the game, though, I do want to point out, and I don't feel bad about this, but I do want to just make sure everybody's aware, they did still go 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. So today may have worked out in the win column. It still feels like this is something that is not quite yet taken care of. This is not yet finished. They left 10 runners on base, but Atlanta was able to do enough. They had a 2-out RBI from Sean Murphy. He actually had 3 of them total. But when you look at runners left in scoring position, Ozzy Albies left 1. Matt Olson left 2. Austin Riley left 1. You still have a little bit of extra work to go to fix the offense, for lack of a better term. But I will say, Michael Harris in the 8th showed us that this team is different. These approaches are different, right? Because you look at the whole idea of Michael Harris laid down a sacrifice bunt. Michael Harris was willing to lay down a bunt to get a runner to third, right? So absolutely, that is something different. Atlanta had less than 10 sacrifice bunts all year last year, and you already have 1. So it's very clear that while things are not okay, and the officiating was awful in this game, like it was absolutely horrid. I cannot wait to get ABS, like the challenge system in the majors. We saw that here. I was kind of saving that for the pitching segment. I'm not a huge fan of sacrifice bunts. It absolutely worked in this situation. I don't love the idea of sacrificing an out to advance one base, but it worked out here. I do want to talk about the pitching, though, because I think we need to have a conversation about some of this. We'll do that next, right here on the Braves Postcast. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Just Ingredients. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. They offer an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. I know a Braves left fielder, that would have been great had you been able to check everything you were taking for banned substances. Just Ingredients has also partnered with 2-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. As you learned tonight, just taking Just Ingredients will not guarantee you a win in a baseball game. The Atlanta Braves will still beat you, but you can train harder and recover better with Just Ingredients. So visit justingredients.us, use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. Welcome back to the Braves Postcast. Lindsay Crosby flying solo. Jake Mastriani's traveling today. I do want to talk about the pitching. Okay, this is the second consecutive start we've seen where a Chris Sale was not able to go as deep as he typically goes, right? In this case, 4 2/3, 9 hits, 5 runs, no walks to 5 strikeouts, right? Through 86 pitches, 60 for strikes. And the thing I think we're going to be talking about tonight and tomorrow is going to be Chris Sale's velocity. I normally hate these velocity conversations, right? Starters ramp up and down a lot more than a lot of people realize, right? But he averaged 93.6 today, which is not the worst thing in the world. It was down a little bit from his previous start. Like 9/10 of a mile an hour, was down 1.3 from his average in 2024. But he topped out at 97.3 in the first inning. No fastball after the first inning was over 93.7. So I don't love that idea. Like, I don't love hearing that. It is going to be really interesting to see what we get post-game comments. I'd like to believe it was just the cold. I like to believe it was just it's early in the season, but it is a little bit of, I guess, concern that now you have 2 consecutive Chris Sale starts that aren't necessarily great. And then you combine that with seeing what his velocity did. The flip side of this, I will say, is for whatever Chris Sale looked like, Zack Wheeler wasn't much better, right? 5 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs. He walks 3, 7 strikeouts. At least Chris Sale had no walks, right? I'm also a little bit surprised that Philly pushed Wheeler as far as they did. He threw 104 pitches tonight, which is a little bit of surprising, I guess, this early in the year to see a pitcher on a cold night get pushed that deep into a game. Was honestly surprised. He walked Jared Kelenic tonight more than he walked all of the Braves combined last year in 3 starts. So maybe there's an explanation here of just the starting pitchers in general were having a little bit of struggle because of the cold and it's early in the season, right? There is a little side thing of that. I do want to shout out the Braves pin, though, because when the Braves pin got in, from that point on, Philly did not have a hit. They got 3 runners on via walk, and that's it. Eniel De Los Santos walked 1 with 2 strikeouts. Dylan Lee walked 1 with 2/3 of an inning. Dylan Lee also threw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Where did that come from Dylan Lee? He's usually averaging 93. Dylan Lee popped I think it's 96.9 to rounds to 97. That was wild, especially in the cold, too. Daisabel Hernandez, 1 1/3 innings, 2 strikeouts, 2 really big strikeouts. Daisabel Hernandez, they used him to finish off the 7th. And there was a little bit of, like, Aaron Bummer was getting up, right? And you have the option to just throw in Aaron Bummer for the 8th. Because if Daisabel comes back out there, he has to face 3 batters. So that rule is, when he starts the inning, he has to face the 3 batters. And so Daisabel goes out there, gets some big strikeouts, takes it to the 9th. Raisel Iglesias locks it down, does allow a walk, but gets his first save of the year. There were a couple things that were a little odd. I kind of thought Marcell Ozuna would get pinch run for in the 8th inning. I guess because you had a multi-run lead, it wasn't as concerning. Eli White was already in the game. He was already in left field for Brian De La Cruz. You could have thrown Stuart Fairchild in there. You could have run Nick Allen if you wanted to. Part of me wondered if you would pinch hit for Orlando Arcia with Drake Baldwin or somebody and then throw Nick Allen in short. So Atlanta didn't do a lot of that kind of stuff like I expected. But absolutely, Braves just take down Philly 7-5. It's going to be another really interesting game tomorrow. You've got Grant Holmes going. You have Taijuan Walker going. And this is the one that could kind of go either way, right? Grant Holmes converting to the rotation. He had a little bit of an iffy start in his first start. Taijuan Walker was dreadful last year. I think he pitched 6 scoreless in the first outing of the year, but it was Colorado. So it's kind of hard to know what you're going to get. But in the meantime, it's a beautiful looking scorecard. Folks, things are great. The Braves won this game, and we will be back with you tomorrow to break down hopefully a series win for Atlanta, and they're looking for a sweep. Again, there's a question in the chat. Did we win because Jake was not watching the game? I don't know for a fact that he wasn't watching. I just know that he was not able to do the show because of his travel. He may have been watching. But either way, great win for the Atlanta Braves. Let's hope they keep it up and do it again tomorrow. If you're listening on audio, do us a favor. Leave us a 5-star review, whether it's on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when Jake drops his next episode of Locked On Braves, so you know when we go live with the next postcast. Jake will be back later this week for the postcast. Tomorrow will be just me again. But until next time, this has been the Braves Postcast.